Okay, welcome to Bitrix24 Live. I am Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Interface with Bitrix24 Gold Partners, and we're going to be online for about an hour, up to an hour, answering your questions on any subject area of Bitrix24. If you want to post your questions in the chat window, alternatively, if you want to email any questions over now or during the week, you can do that to sales@interface.com. We've got some questions that have been emailed over, which we can start with. Please post your questions in the chat window and stay online until we've answered all your questions. So our contact details are on the screen. If you want to get in touch with us afterwards, if you want a one-to-one demo of Bitrix24, we can do that for you. Get in touch with one of those local offices. We're based in the UK, we have offices in the US and UAE, and we can provide a one-to-one demo online or in your office. We will tailor the demo to your specific requirements. So try and answer any questions today. If we can't, we can get back to you and do a one-to-one for you. Okay, so start with some questions that we've had in earlier. There's a question here about, is it possible to set a maximum session time? So Bitrix will, as standard, will log you out if you change your there's a significant change to the IP address you're connected through. So that would automatically log you out. But if you want a session time that maxes out after a period of time, then you can do that on the cloud. You can do that on the cloud system. Let's have a look. Sorry, you can do that on the self-hosted, but you can't on the cloud. There's not that sort of setting or that sort of control on the cloud. On the self-hosted, if you go into the control panel, I'll just show you quickly. And self-hosted control panel, it allows you to manage users and user groups in a little bit more detail than you can do on the cloud. So go to user groups, you can create groups, and within each group you can create, do a few different things. Firstly, you can set different security levels. There are some default security levels here, and you can override those if you want. So the top one actually is session maximum lifetime in minutes. So you can change that, either extend that or reduce that. In addition, there's a lot of other security settings, things like requirements around password length and the sort of characters used in passwords as well. There are, in addition to the security settings, you can disable or enable different features for different groups as well, groups of users. So all these features that are on the screen now, you're able to disable or enable. So you can control what users can see, which modules users can see in a little bit more detail with the self-hosted. Can I turn off call recording? I don't need this feature on my system. Yeah, you can do that. So by default, recording of telephone calls, I'm pretty sure wouldn't be selected. So you have to turn it on. But if you've got it turned on, you want to turn it off, then that can be done. Let's find telephony. So if we go into our telephony, if we go into telephony settings, I think, no, bear with me a second, configure numbers, I think it's in configure numbers. So it's within configure numbers. So what you can actually do is configure the call recording for each individual numbers. Obviously you can rent more than one individual number. Under call recording, we've got it ticked here, save recordings. You just need to deselect that to turn off call recordings. If you are recording calls, you've got the option here to play a welcome message warning people that you're doing that recording. And another feature here, you're able to transcribe telephone conversations into text to allow them to become searchable. Okay. So post your questions. Hello, Samir. Nice to meet you too. If you want to post a question in there, we can. I can try and answer that question. Any questions you have. Okay, is it possible to capture the location of my sales team who are out on visits at clients' offices? So we get asked this a little bit. People are asking if they can do it by GPS and things like that. It's not possible to do that. We have done something for a self-hosted client that was using the IP address. So the IP address that they're logged in on. If we just go back into the control panel, I'll show you that. So if we go into our we don't seem to have analytics enabled on this. Apologise for that. So I can't show you that, but we have an analytics package on the self-hosted that allows you to see a list of users and the logged in users and a history of logged in users and the actual IP address that they've used to log in or they've accessed via. And you can do something around just sort of recording which IP address and tagging those IP addresses to different locations like client locations. But it's not that simple. Sometimes IP addresses are not accurate in terms of identifying the actual physical geographical location, and we don't have any GPS in technology integrated. How do I bulk update responsible person on a lead? I can do that one. Okay, so let's go into our CRM. How do I bulk up? Bear with me a second. How do I bulk update responsible person? So you can do bulk updates on leads as you can with any modules. So if we go to the leads here, if we click into make sure we're in list view, when we're in list view, we can do a filter. So let's say we want to bulk update Jane. We've got a few here who are responsible to Jane White. Let's filter for those particular leads, Jane White's leads, and we can select now all of those leads in that filter. And the action we want to do is down at the bottom, assign responsible person. I'm going to assign them to myself, Max Smith, and apply. Now, if I don't have permission to update leads, then I wouldn't be able to do that. But I do, and you can see that the filter's still in place at the top. So all the leads for that user Jane are now they're not showing any leads. If we take that filter out, we will see that all leads are now assigned to Max Smith, apart from this one in the middle. Okay, how can I specify which fields show for all leads created by a CRM web form? How can I specify which fields show for all leads? Currently, settings from other lead sources are dictating what is required and not on leads. I want with their own parameters. Okay, I'm not too sure. Let's just run through. I'm not too sure what you need. You want there. How can I specify which fields show for all leads created by CRM web forms? Let's have a look at how you specify fields in a lead. So whether a lead is created by a CRM web form or not. You can specify which fields are shown. Let's just open up this page. Okay, bear with me a second. Looks like loads. We've got another question which I'll get to. I had a task created on a contact and company the other day because a customer called my line. How do I turn that off so it doesn't automatically create that again? It seems to be a bug. Okay, can you just confirm it was an actual task, or was it a created on a company and contact the day because an incoming call, if the number's not recognised, it can create a lead. Can you just confirm that it was actually a task that the call generated, and I can look into that. Okay, we're having some internet problems. Just bear with me a second. Hopefully it'll pop back up in a second. Another question which we'll get to, is there a way to have leads generated from a CRM form automatically send a text requesting payment? Yeah, I think there is, yeah. Okay, follow up to your question about creating a task. It showed an item scheduled with the counters. Yeah, so I mean, if somebody calls and the number's not recognised, it will create a lead for you. You can disable that feature, and it will show as an item on your counters as a new lead. It's not actually a task inside Bitrix. It would be a lead. Fortunately, we're having problems with our connection, and I'm not getting anything at the moment. Just bear with me a second, see if it comes back on. Another question, is there a way to create a business process from incoming email of an existing contact, not lead? So when an incoming email comes in, it will sync to an existing contact, and you want to trigger a business process from that. Yeah, I mean, there is a way with the self-hosted to trigger anything from an incoming email, which I could show you on the cloud. I don't think there is. I mean, an incoming email can be a trigger in automation within leads and deals, but you're restricted to leads and deals with automation. So unless you would need the self-hosted, and you'd either do some custom PHP, or you would do you could use the email service built in. I'm just going to it looks like we're going to have we're having some problems here. It looks like we're not going to get very far, so I apologize. I think what we'll do is probably just bring it to an end, considering connection problems we're having. Just give it one more try. Okay, there we go. Good. Okay, let me go through these questions from the start. How can I specify which fields show for all leads created by a CRM form? So a CRM form will create a lead if that's what you specify it to create, and you can specify which fields show. So it might be that you've decided to create some custom fields, and you can you might need custom fields for your form if you've got some custom questions or custom information you want to collect, rather than just company name and phone number and things like that. So you can create, of course, custom fields and then add them to a form. You create the custom field first and then add it to the form, and then it's just a case of selecting those fields in your lead view. What you need to do if you're an admin, if you click on the settings at the top, you'll see you've got two options here. So you've got My Form View and Common Form View. So if you're an administrator, you can make changes to Common Form View, and those are reflected in everybody else's Common Form View. Everyone's got the option to choose to change to their own My Form View, and everybody in My Form View can make their own changes to their layout. They're not reflected on anybody else's layout. But within Common Form View, you need to be an administrator, and you can select any fields that exist here, and it's got this created on dating. You can select those fields, and as you're in Common Form View, that field then will show on everybody else's view. But provided they are in Common Form View, just check that with your users they're not on their own My Form View. So you can customize that. You can move these around to create the layout you want. You can create additional sections, and you can rename each of these sections as well. So yeah, creating that layout is fairly straightforward. So you say currently settings from other lead sources are dictating what is required or not on leads. So I'm not too sure. Yeah, I mean, you can't have a different view for leads from different sources, essentially. So a lead will look the same regardless of what source. I mean, one thing you can do is if you were to create custom fields, and if you were to create a series of custom fields for a form that you're creating, you could then create a new section and add those fields into that section, name the section the name of the form. And what you can do is you can deselect this show always. So that would mean that if they're not populated, so if someone has not completed a form which has populated those fields, they wouldn't show. So then you have a sort of dynamic view of your lead page. You just end up with an empty section like this with nothing showing, instead of kind of a series of blank fields. So regards your question, I have a task created on company content today because a customer called my line. So you do get a lead or something when a customer calls. Incoming calls. I think if you go into your telephony settings, there should be a way to deselect that. Let's have a look. Probably in configure numbers. So you have this setting here within CRM integration. If the number is not registered within the CRM, offer to create a new record in the call window. Got the button to be able to do that, or automatically create a lead. So you've probably got automatically create lead selected. If you want to just change it to offer to create new record, then and there's some more CRM settings that you can do. Oh, so you can create some exceptions within there. Okay, is there a way to have leads generate from a CRM form automatically send a text requesting payment? So you can, you should be able to do this. Let's go into leads. And within leads you can click in automation rules and configure. So what you want to do is when a CRM form is created, it will create a new lead. the lead will by default be that the first stage here. You want to send a text requesting payments. Let's take that out, see what we've got. So you can send an SMS. You need to integrate with a provider, so we have some pre-built integration here. Plivo or Twilio or the providers there, so you have to have an account with one of those providers. If you go into the applications page, you can set that up. So you need to make sure that's set up first, and then you can create an automatic text message, and you can send somebody to a link. Put a message in there and then add a link in there. So the simplest way to do it would just be send somebody to your PayPal page or something. You probably can integrate better in that we could probably then get a use a PayPal payment as a trigger to then kind of change the status, close the lead, or win the lead. Probably have to look into that and show you how that would work one-to-one. So if you wanted to get in touch with us on sales@intraface.com, we could arrange to show you how that would work. But essentially you can create your SMS, which will send the link out, and then you're going to create a trigger up here, which is okay, we don't have a standard trigger, so we would probably have to create something for you that change the lead from an open lead to a won lead once a payment had been received. So it will be possible, but it might involve a little bit of custom work. Is there a way to create a business process from incoming email of an existing contact, not lead? So there isn't. I mean, an incoming email will create a lead for you if the email address doesn't exist with an existing contact in the system, and then, as you probably know, then you can trigger this sort of automation to do anything from that new lead created. But you want to do a business process from an existing contact. You could do that, but you would need a you could do that anyway. Let's just have a look in the CRM and settings. So instead of using automation, if you go into settings and automation, and then into business process. So these are the automation links. If you go to business processes and contacts, and you've got the option when you create a business process for it to run when a new contact is created, or when something's changed on a contact. You don't want to do any of those. Yeah, to be honest, you're probably going to have a custom action block here that looks for an incoming email. So there isn't anything you can use. You can use conditions that look for a change to a contact. So if one of the fields has changed, you can create a condition that can then trigger trigger further action blocks. But there isn't a standard action block that will look for an incoming email. So you would unfortunately need a self-hosted edition, which has this option to add PHP code in, and we could write some code for you that would act as a trigger that would trigger a business process from an incoming email. So I don't think there's any other way of doing that. Unfortunately, you'd have to upgrade to that self-hosted edition. Let me just put our contact details up there, and I was trying to integrate QuickBooks Online with Bitrix. When data, contacts of companies are being imported, there has been an error and we're not all imported. So QuickBooks integration, I think, is a third-party app. So if it's not working for you, I think you'd have to contact the app providers. How can I activate the online chat to a website created by Bitrix sites? Okay, let's have a look. So with online chat, let's just go into our contact center. So you're looking for live chat. So website widget. So you can create a widget. You can customize it a little bit as the design and where it locates on the page. This widget here has the option for live chat, has the option for a callback form, and also a CRM and inquiry form. And once you've created, you can customize the welcome message. Once you've created the form, it gives you some code here, and you can post that on your website. If you're using Bitrix sites, then it should be a standard integration into there. Let's have a look. Okay. I'm going. Let's have a look. Okay, so I apologise. I don't know where that setting is, but if you want to get in touch with us, if you want to email that question to me, sales@intraface.com, then we'll answer that for you. It is possible to integrate your live chat into Bitrix sites. It's straightforward. You don't need to copy and paste the code over. There is a setting in here, but unfortunately, too sure where the setting is. Just have a quick look. No, it's not in there. So yeah, if you can email it to me, then we'll answer that question for you. I know that a supervisor can qualify chat sessions with comments and a 5-star rating. Can the supervisor do the same with voice calls, rate the calls and comments like quality control? So there isn't that sort of feature on voice calls to kind of rate them. You can see a history of all calls, and you can do a filter by user and date and things like that, so you can see that sort of information. Let's go into telephony again. So if you go into call details at the top, then I've got every call that was made, and I can use the filter to filter by individual employee. You can't then rate those calls. If you're doing call recording, the recording link will appear here, and you can listen back to those calls, but there's not a way of rating them, unfortunately. What are the possibilities of including eSignature in workflow approvals? So there are some eSignature applications that are pre-built. You want to include it in a business process. We've done this lots of times. A lot of businesses want to automatically send out documents for people to sign at certain stages of the sales process. We've integrated signature applications. See if we can find. So there's a couple of different eSignature applications there. They're third-party apps, I think, by the look of it. So how they work will be slightly different. How you set them up will be slightly different. But you can try them for free, pretty sure. And if you wanted to integrate with part of a business, actually a business process, I would get in touch with us with details of how your process works, and we can explain how that could be implemented for you. I have an account with Plivo to send SMS from Bitrix. If the customer responds to the SMS, will it show up in their Bitrix lead card? So it doesn't, incoming email doesn't come back into Bitrix, although we have, not with Plivo, that's my understanding. We have done work with Twilio that allows you to send SMS and also receive SMS back in, but that is slightly custom. But we've done that for other businesses. So if you got in touch with us, we could set that up for you. Please could you help how to make multiple lead forms? So if we go into the CRM, and if we go into CRM forms, then your forms that you have created are in here, and you can create new forms here. So you can really create, as many forms as you want. Gives you a piece of code, and you can post that code on different landing pages. Essentially, as we mentioned earlier, if you're looking at generating a lead from a completed form, you would select down here lead. That's the default record that it creates. But you can select any field from any of these modules. If you selected a field from, say, company or contact, it didn't exist in lead, it would duplicate the field in lead for you. So you can tick on any of the fields you want. Change the design of the button there. Choose what record it creates inside Bitrix. Choose some standard styling options. And if I save that, let's come out of that and just go into another one. If I go into one we've already created, once it's saved, I've got the embed code link here. Gives us a URL as well, which you can use, but if you want to actually embed it in a page, then gives us the code. Then there's different options about standard embedding as a link or as a time delayed pop-up. Got different sets of code to be able to use it in different ways. So that's it really. You can create multiple lead forms, create as many as you want. You probably can copy this form here if you want to create multiple versions that are similar. And it will, the source will show up as the name of the lead form, so you'll know just which form's been completed if you've got multiple of them. So you said list type is not visible on application. I don't know what that means, list type. Could you talk a bit about chatbots? So chatbots generally would involve development work, but essentially would allow you to create automatic answers to questions that come in. So you can, they do require some development work, but it's possible to create a chatbot that can generate automatic responses to incoming chat messages. So chat messages might be generally from the chat widgets you have on your public web pages. Those chat messages generate a pop-up for you like this, and if you want to send out, instead of manually sending out messages, you can create some automation inside there. Okay, let me put our contact details up for you, and if you want to post questions, any more questions in there, then please do so. If you want to send any questions to sales@intraface.com, we can answer those next time. We do the same every week. If you want something in the meantime, send us a question. If you want a demo, if you want us to demo exactly how that would work. If it's a bit complex, it's better if we do a one-to-one demo. So any questions I couldn't answer today, if you want to send them via email, one of our sales guys will set it up and show you how that works, so that we can show you whether Bitrix is going to be the right solution for that particular application. So it doesn't look like we have any further questions. If you want to subscribe to us, then you'll get notifications about live sessions. We normally do it at the same time every week. And if you go to our website and look for webinars, or if you go to Bitrix24.com, on the homepage you can register for the webinars we run there, which we do on a different subject every Monday. But that's it. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.